I'm Yvonne Smith and I'm new to Stampin' Up. However, I'm finding the products extremely good, which is why I'm happy to be a new demonstrator. I have been stamping and card making and basically paper crafting for 30 years. So let's hope I can help you today. Now we're doing a very simple stamping project, which you can see there. I'm sorry you can't see my face. I've had awful problems with my filming, but anyway, I'm sure it's not me you want to see, it's the demo. So what we have here is a 6x6 card, and this is cardstock from Stampin' Up, which it's a 12x12, which I've cut down into 6x6. So basically a 12-inch piece of card cut into two and folded in half, as you can see there. Okay, so let's bring in, now it's quite important, you need your stamps. So this is my stamp set, Dragonfly Garden, and it is lovely and it is so versatile. When you buy stamps, look at what you can use them for. There's so many hidden things in there, but that is another video. Okay, so that's my stamp set. The inks I'm going to use are Stampin' Up Espresso there, and bear with me because I've put it away without realising, and this one, Stampin' Up Sahara Sand. Now these ink pads are brilliant, so what you have to do is pop them open all the way, and then what you can do is slide them, bear with me because it's a bit awkward on camera, like that, and then they're very sturdy. So let's open the other one. Okay, and slide that in. Oh, there's a little hair there. Let's get that out of the way. Don't want hairs, do we? Okay, so that's my stamps ready. Forgive me, this is my first video, so let's hope it's not too bad for you. It's always handy to have some kind of a ruler, some kind of paper trimmer. I mean, you can get all of these from the Stampin' Up catalogue, but I'm just using what I've got to hand at the moment, to be quite honest. I wish I had my Stampin' Up ones, but I've been doing lots of work in the home, so it's all been stashed away. I've got a makeshift bin, which is just a flower pot, but it's a little bin. I do have a small pot with soapy water and some trusty kitchen towel. Okay, that's so that I can clean my stamps. I've got some scissors, and that's about all you need. It is really basic. Now, so let's start. So I'm going to put this to one side, and I'm going to bring in the 6-inch that I've folded in half. Okay, now I'm going to take this part of the stamping set, which is the most beautiful daisies. Look at that, it's stunning. Okay, now this acrylic block I've got isn't brilliant, I'm sorry, but the Stampin' Up ones are very good. I find it important to have one that you can see through, so that you know exactly where you're going to stamp on your card. Actually, I'm going to put a white piece under there, so bear with me, so that you can see what I'm doing, because you can't see with the same colour. Let's put a different colour underneath. Can't find my white. It's quite important too, there you go, so you can see what I'm doing. It's quite important to have some scrap paper around. Doesn't matter what it is, anything. It can be an old envelope, it could be anything, but just some scrap paper. This happens to be printer paper, which is also very good. I will show you why in a moment. So let me just move a couple of things. I'm working around so many different things. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take this stamp here, and let's get the right one. With the Sahara sand, I'm going to stamp it. I like to take the stamp to the image that I'm going to do and lightly tap it all over. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, bring in a piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to take off the first print. And then I'm going to go on to my card, doesn't matter where, but somewhere around the bottom, onto there. And this is what I call shadow printing. So I'm going to do this a few times. So, re-ink. Take your time, no rush. Take off the first image, because there's always more ink. Do it again. There you go. And I'm going to do that all the way along. So, bear with me. You don't want to see me inking this up all the time and taking it off, but you can see me putting it on. There you go. Doesn't matter that it hasn't you haven't got a nice crisp print. I don't want a nice crisp print. I'm after something that's in the distance. Okay, so I've took off the first one. So there we've got, it's supposed to be behind everything, so anything that's in the distance is always lighter. So I'm just going to get my bit of paper towel and clean that. It's slightly wet. There you go, nice and clean. And I'm going to get the espresso. Now this time I'm going to do exactly the same. Doesn't matter, it's scrap. Okay, and then I'm going to go in between. Okay, now can you see that's giving that depth? The espresso one is making the Sahara sand one look like it is definitely behind. So let's do some more. Take it off, put it on. There you go. Doesn't have to be crisp, doesn't need to be. And then our last one. Put it on, now scrap, and then onto there. Actually, there's still some ink on there, so I'm going to do it again. There you go. Do you see what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's good to go off the edge too, because if you leave it too much in, it looks contrived. If you let it go off the edge, it looks more natural. So I'm quite pleased with that. So I'm just going to pop my stamp to one side. Just going to give it a little clean first. Bear with me. Don't like dirty stamps. It doesn't really matter, but the problem is if your stamp's not clean, you may get that colour on your next project. So the next part I'm going to do, bring this back in again, are these lovely little flutterbys, as I call them. Okay, so I want them in the distance. So I'm going to take the Sahara sand and do exactly what I did before. Stamp it off and then stamp it on. I'm going to do that all the way along. Now I have got, unfortunately, because this is why I don't like this particular acrylic block, I've got ink there. If the block was flat, I wouldn't have to rock it. This is one that you curve onto. I wouldn't, if it was flat, I wouldn't get that on it, which I have done there. I'm not going to worry about it, to be honest. It's perfectly fine. So do that again. And on there. And then again. Now for this last one, I'm going to take it off on there. I'm going to put it on there. And then I'm going to put it on there again. Now again, I've got little thing. It really doesn't matter. I'm not going to worry about that one bit. Okay. If you are the sort of person that worries about it, get yourself a decent block from Stampin' Up, because it will make all the difference. Okay, I'm going to put this one back. So now we've got our background, which I think is really quite nice. You can do this in any colours, it's entirely up to you. I've just chosen this one for this evening. Now what I also like to do, I find this, it needs a frame in some kind of a way. So I'm going to take the darker colour of the two, which is the espresso. A little trick we do, you hold your card still, use your ink pad and just go around the edge, drag it off. It's going to leave a border and it will be a bit bitty, but do you know what? It looks really nice when you do that. I like it. Now, can you see? That's given it a frame. It's an uneven frame, but because it's there, your eye goes to the middle. Okay. So now we want to bring in this. So I've cut a piece of contrast card, which is 2 inches. No, it is. Yeah, this one is 2 inches by 6 inches. So 6 inches across, 2 inches deep. This one is 1 3/4 by 6 inches, and they will layer on top. So you only get a little flash of that contrast, but it makes all the difference. Okay, so what we do with this, as you did here, to tie everything in, do it on the nice clean side, go around the outside of it all, around the outside, there you go, makes a nice frame. Do this one. Okay. Oh, maybe a bit too much, but it doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. Okay. So we now have 2 pieces of card. See, if you just did that, it's a little bit insipid. You could do just that. It's maybe a bit too much. But if you do this, I think it makes it pop. You don't have to go edge to edge. You can cut it so that it frames like that, and a bit less there so that it frames. In this instance, let's make it easy. Make it all the way across. Then we need to stick the two together. Now I like to use a wet glue. The reason being is that it gives me time to move it about. We've got some lovely wet glues on Stampin' Up. See, look, I'll show you. I can move that. If you used double-sided tape, once that's on there, it's on there, stuck. Okay, I quite like that. So now I'm going to glue this to the card. And now, bear with me. Put some glue on. You don't put loads on, just scribble it on like that. Now, composition. You don't want it in the middle. It cuts off too much up there. Think of it in thirds. So you've got a third, a third, and a third. I'm going to put it here. And Do you see it? It all looks right. You can go across the middle, but it depends on the design you have behind it. We want to see this top bit. The bottom bit is nice, but it's not important. Okay, so now what we're going to do is this beautiful dragonfly, which is this one, and I'm going to ink that up. I want that in the forefront, so we're going to use the dark colour, the espresso. I don't have a good memory, I'm afraid, so I have to keep looking. Now I'm going to want that about here, doesn't matter where, put it wherever you want. Okay, now look, I've got it on there again, never mind. So that's my lovely little dragonfly, and just going to clean my stamp, put it back so I know where it is. Now I think that on its own is nice, but I feel it needs something else. Now, what I was saying about stamps being versatile, if I put this stamp on here, you've got the beautiful flowers and the stalks. Look at it. You can ink just that flower or just the top bit. I'm actually going to use just the stalks, and I'll show you why. I'm going to ink it. Actually, I'm going to use the lighter colour. Excuse me getting in front of the camera. Right, I'm going to use the lighter colour, first generation, so I'm not stamping it off, and I'm just going to use those stalks there and there. Now that's given that, that's given that a grounding. It's like it's flying over something. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. Then I want a sentiment. Now the sentiment I've chosen is thank you for your kindness. And I think this is a really quite nice set for that particular sentiment, but I'm going to have that in bold. So stamp that up. First generation, so we're not stamping it off first. Carefully place it. There you go. Now these stamps are very lovely and clear, first generation. I'm unfortunate because of the block I've been using. I've been getting an edge. You won't get that if you use the flat ones that Stampin' Up sell. Now, to me, that is not only, I love simple cards. I absolutely love simple cards. To me, that is simple. It's to the point. And anybody would love to get a card like that. Inside, there's various ways you can do it. But just your own writing or another little stamp in there is fine. So I hope you've enjoyed this. And maybe next time I'll be a bit more tidier, because I won't be moving everything in and out of boxes, etc., because of decorating. But thank you all so much for watching, and I hope that you watch again. Thank you.